At the end. I'm really at the end, personally and geographically. Well, I don't know if I'll get away with it, but this place definitely will. Good morning on the Camino. Having set off from Heidelberg 36 days ago, it's now time for me to return home from Finisterra. I'm taking the bus to Santiago, continuing tomorrow to Porto and spending a few days there. But first I need a proper breakfast. You know how it is. Croissant, coffee, con leche, freshly squeezed orange juice. Then I squeeze into the bus, and suddenly it rains. Only now do I appreciate how lucky I've been over the last few days. At the bus station in Santiago, I suddenly meet the Greeks, who are actually Bulgarians. But who cares? We wish each other all the best for the future. And in Santiago, I already know roughly which albergue I'm heading for. My last day in Spain ends very surprisingly. I've just been invited by a nice gentleman from Barcelona for sausage and lots of beer. Beer? Cerveza.
Beer. Cerveza. You know what? I don't have time to change my habits. By the way, see where I found an albergue. You remember the place? Oh yeah. This is Ruben from Barcelona. This is Nacho.
Well, that's how a day in Spain can end. Tomorrow I'm off to Portugal. After a delicious breakfast, I got on the bus to Porto. And let's just skip this journey gallantly. It wasn't that exciting. So, now I'm in Porto, and there's already a yellow arrow. I just can't get rid of it. At least now I know where to go.
Jetzt weiß ich wenigstens, wo ich hingehen muss. Guck mal hier, das ist Porto.
Look here, that's Porto, and there's the hotel.
Die Reise nach Porto hat...
The trip to Porto went really well. I didn't even have to change buses. Although, unfortunately, I got a connection where you have to change. But everything went well. At the bus station in Porto, I immediately asked someone for directions, and it was a German woman who was just there on business and was a bit surprised why I was chatting. And then she said, "Well, have you got a walking stick with you? Do you want to go hiking?" And then I told her about the Camino, and that this was the end. I'm going to the hotel now, and I only have to walk for another hour and a half. Then she was horrified. "Why are you walking? Why aren't you taking the bus or a cab?" Then I thought with an inner smile, well, okay, I'm back in civilization now. Well, I can't say that the hotel doesn't have a bad view. I'm just having a look at my things, and memories of the trip come flooding back. I remember the trip started in Saint-Jean with a cup of coffee that was put out for me. And it's exactly the same in Porto. It begins with coffee, it ends with coffee. Thanks. There's all the stuff. Tiger balm, for example, which was very valuable. Plasters, the shells, and then even the laptop. The laptop also got a blister, I don't know where it got it. Then, closely guarded by the mouse, the original scallop shell from the beach, which wasn't easy to find. The shells on the beach were all broken. I have to recharge my batteries, and look, there's the laundry. And they do your laundry here at the hotel. I'll make use of it.
So, alle Wäsche. Aber hier im Hotel haben sie Laundry Service. Den nutze ich. Den letzten Schluck auf euch.
I really do walk to the beach all the time, even in the evenings, but I haven't really found anything great. Mike told me that he goes to a spa in southern Portugal and then books a bungalow from which he goes on hikes. So I thought I'd just copy him for 3 or 4 days. At the same time, I started to hone my habits, doing a few laps in the pool every morning and going to the gym to keep at it. The discipline must not break. Well, you know how it goes, but it's still fun. Well, and then I had to decide what to do with my walking stick. As it was, I couldn't fit it in my luggage to get it on the plane. I went to reception and asked for advice. They said unabashedly, "No problem at all. We'll chop it into 4 pieces. Then you can take it with you without any problems." The job was done within an hour. Now it's the whole in its individual parts. Since I have a brilliant Wi-Fi connection here, I'll send some data to the cloud right away. Just in case my luggage somehow gets mixed up on the flight. You never know. But it still took a while. Mouse? Do you have any idea? Why is that? Please go on a search, please. How? You don't know either. Yes. Who's going to help now? Oh yes. Patience. Well, I don't know if she has time right now. She's always very busy. Do you know what we're going to do? Let's just go down for a bit and relax and explore the city. There's an incredible amount of construction going on right here in the center. And there are these barriers everywhere where you can't really get through. Now I keep seeing people going there from there and then wanting to turn right. But there's a barrier, and then they all have to go back. And I feel so incredibly sorry for these restaurants because they don't get any customers. And that's why I treat myself to a salad there now. They're in no particular hurry to serve me. I'm almost the only customer. But never mind. Cheers. Well, it goes on like this all day. They all bump into the dead end and have to turn back. And now I make my way to Porto Cathedral. I already had my suspicions when I visited the first public toilet. My appearance would not go unnoticed. Click, click. Daddy is snapped by paparazzi and the local press publishes a full-page article about me. I pull my buff low over my face and remain incognito for the rest of the day. My buff? Damn. I left it at the hotel. Shit happens.
So, between the 800s and the 1800s, the whole place was run by the bishop. That's why.
Welcome to day 36. After completing the Camino Frances and the tour to Fisterra, I took the bus to Porto to spend a few days here and then head back home. And yes, my first impression of Porto is, let's put it this way, if you're ever in the area, you can do this, you can do that, you can just go to Porto and have a look. No, seriously, it's beautiful. It really is. You should put it on your list of destinations. This city really offers a lot of beauty within the old town. Lots of narrow streets that have a special feature. The houses are all... you have to understand that. There was a shortage of plaster at some point. It's known as the Great Plaster Shortage of the 60s. And then you went to Grandma's and Grandma said, "Guys, don't panic. I still have a few tiles left over from last week's bathroom renovation. You can have them, And then Grandma went and tiled the whole house here from the outside. They don't have any plaster. They all have tiles outside. And when there were no more tiles, Grandma said, "I know someone who knows someone who's really good with a paintbrush." And then he danced in and painted the rest. And that's what makes this city so charming. Tile and brushwork. Thanks, Grandma. It's actually quite cheap, but sometimes you have really expensive corners. So just on the beach. Yesterday I had the idea of looking for a restaurant on the beach. At first I couldn't find one at all. Then I walked past 10 restaurants, but they were all so expensive. You somehow paid 50 liras for a bowl of salad. So I didn't do that, I just went to the supermarket. There was an orange juice machine there, but unfortunately it didn't work. That was very sad. In the end, I just bought a cheap can of fake tuna to celebrate, and I have to say, now that I've had a day's break, or 2 days actually, I was so close to walking the Camino Portuguese. It's only 12 days to Santiago, so not much was missing to do it. I wanted to start walking again straight away, because I also saw yellow arrows. I saw the symbol of the scallop shell today, and I thought to myself, actually you have to. But hey, it's good at some point, isn't it? You also have to know when to stop. The next time will definitely come. I'll postpone that until next year. And then I thought to myself, maybe I can walk the Portuguese or the Camino del Norte. And I do sound a bit addicted, don't I? Well, the Camino has left deep traces, but I think it will be worth it to set off again at some point. It's only worth it if you have a really long break in between, if you finish a long hike and then have a bit of a break and then continue the hike again. And then you have new energy, new vigor, new ideas, and are a completely different person again. And here's an interesting thought I had this morning while I was waking up. I had a kind of summary of this Camino, where I saw what the Camino or what being human is somehow all about. And some people would say, yes, these are the cosmic laws or the universal laws. And that became so crystal clear to me this morning. I know I've used the term a lot. The concept is crystal clear. But I had this thought, that this principle that if you give something, then you will receive, or if you take something, then at some point you have to give something again, which happens all by itself, or you do it consciously. This principle is reflected in everything and is central to our breathing. When you take something, you breathe, and yet you have to give something again, breathe out. If you give something by breathing out, then whether you want to or not, you will also receive something again. That was so crystal clear this morning, so clearly in my mind's eye, that I was then slowly able to really accept it. Okay, that's it. This is what I've been experiencing every day for the last few weeks, so to speak. This realization is now settling over all these last days, all these 35 plus days. I can finish in this spirit. I can go home with it. And with this, in this spirit, I go home. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being there. And before I point out how happy I would be if you subscribed to this YouTube channel and left a like, I'd like to share a little anecdote from the Camino. It was really interesting. I actually met 2 parents of successful YouTubers. There was a proud older father whose sons are DJs. They perform in the Bahamas with David Guetta, among others. I don't know anything about that. In any case, his 2 sons are DJs and have a very, very successful YouTube channel, and he's very proud of them. And then I met the mother of a fitness YouTuber in Fisterra, whose name comes back to me. It also somehow started with growing ananas. Anyway, she's a fitness YouTuber and her mother is very proud of her. Strange that I should meet someone like that. Strange. And then I always said to these people, yes, I also have a YouTube channel, but it won't be successful for another 10 years. Maybe you could... why don't you leave a subscription? I'm happy about everyone who subscribes. And I'm not like that. Anyone can become my subscriber. I'm flexible in that respect. So with that in mind, leave a subscription, give me a thumbs up, and activate the bell. And I'll say goodbye from Porto and all the best. Thank you very much. See you sooner or later. I have tons of video material at home, so you'll have to get through it. I won't spare you. You can also do the Camino by bike. I'm doing all the ones that are available, and there's one that's over 1,000 kilometers long from the south. And then I'll do it all again, by bike. And then there's the option of riding a horse. But I'm not really in favor of that. And then, the very traditional way is to take a donkey with you and preferably walk barefoot. Barefoot with a donkey. I think that's exactly what I personally see for my future. Barefoot, with donkeys through Europe. But what has already become second nature to me is that I simply walk. I used to look directly on the app to see where the nearest bus stop was, where there might be a cab rank, or where I could hire a scooter somewhere. I immediately thought about shortening the route, and now something like an hour to the hotel is nothing. It's not that much, I can walk there, it's already totally ingrained in my subconscious. I now only walk, I am now a pedestrian, a walker. Hiker, I am a hiker. What do you do for a living? I am a hiker. Can you make a living from it? You'll see. Universal laws. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you don't want to see any feet, switch off now, but I don't want to deprive you of them either, the marks that a Camino leaves on your feet. They heal, just as everything heals at some point. Part of it remains a memory of the suffering and the joy, and that can actually give us hope. Memories, the good times, everything that has changed our lives, it remains. Otherwise it wouldn't have changed life, would it? I'm off now. I'm going to walk to the airport. No, I'm not taking a cab. Well, I'm going on foot. Well, what did you think? Of course by foot. Goodbye, Porto. See you next time. Next year. See you next year. Ciao. Now, of course, I see the first pilgrims here. Now, on the Portuguese coast, they are taking the coastal route. And I mingle with them, and I hope none of them try to join me, because my destination is not Santiago, but Porto Airport.
Santiago, sondern der Flughafen von Porto.
I've been asking myself the whole time, when will I see a snake? There it was. Look, Mannheim. That's Heidelberg's neighboring town. It looks like I'm almost home. Well, just a few more steps. So, hello from the airport hotel. I'm going home tomorrow. Still a bit of packing to do. Sort and fold everything. Breakfast is at 4 hours tomorrow morning. The flight leaves at 6 hours, and I'll be in Frankfurt by 9:49.
6 Uhr geht der Flug und ich glaube 9:40 Uhr bin ich schon in Frankfurt.
I woke up again at 3 a.m. and had another one of those crystal clear thoughts. It was a spatio-temporal map for the next few months and maybe even years. I was awake for quite a while. The way speaks to you. It speaks to you. It takes your hand and guides you if you want it to. So that was it. The fellowship with so many dear people remains for eternity, even if I may never see any of them again in this life. After more than 4 weeks, I was back home. Well, where do you start when you come back, and how do you carry on? Doing the laundry, tidying up, eating an apple in between? That can't hurt. And then, deep down, you know that there's no going back to your old life. There is pain that was so deep and happiness that was so comprehensive that it remains anchored in time forever. Or in other words, no matter what you do now, you are always on the Camino. What's that? I didn't take that with me at all. That's strange. Camino Portuguese. Oh. And yes, the shell, it gets a place of honor. Yikes. What is that? I don't know yet, but it sounds like a new adventure.